you, and welcome to some kind of Fox content, and welcome back to Twofold First Snow. Finally, this episode was supposed to go up yesterday, but then OBS was like, hey, I have an update for you. And I was stupid enough to be like, that sounds like fun. And I updated and then nothing worked. So I spent the whole day trying to get it to work, and then was like, screwed, I'm going to bed. And then I uninstalled and reinstalled today, and now it seems to work again, I hope. Or maybe I'll record this entire episode and then realize that, there's no audio, huh? Okay, but yes, we are back with First Snow, the game that we started last week, as part of the holiday episodes here. Now, I said that I would play First Snow only on Monday and then try to finish it by Monday. I've sort of changed my mind on that because First Snow is a slightly long, compared to how much time we have, visual novel. The other two visual novels that I have are very short. So what I'm gonna do instead with Twofold First Snow is I'm gonna release an episode each day, meaning you'll have two episodes per day during this holiday week here. And one of them being First Snow. So I'm gonna spread it out a little more instead of containing everything to a single day, and then that episode is like 5 hours long. But with all that said, hello you and welcome to First Snow. And I'm still not gonna be doing voice acting because my throat is still a little bad, even though it's been like a month now. I just can't seem to recover from this. Okay, here we go. The Saturday's morning air is brisk as I stagger back from the supermarket, hands full with bags. The apartment itself may be nothing to write home about, but it is certainly in a good location. I still don't feel like I've been pulling my weight when it comes to daily life with Rose, but at least I can help with errands like groceries. Her attempts to teach me handwork skills have been less successful. Even this music has been a learning experience. Even this much has been a learning experience, not this music. Unless she played this music that we hear in the background. My parents usually doing the shopping back when I lived with them. Reaching the apartment, I find Rose crouched outside and working on her motorbike. She looks perfectly content as she whiles away her time with tools spread around her, as if a child happily playing with their favorite toy.
Hey.
Are you working on the bike again?
Hey.
Hey. Oh hey, that was quick. She levers herself up with a grunt before pulling back the edge of one bag with a finger to peer in, then another. I'm a little worried as she checks over my work. Having to hold my breath as she does isn't exactly helping. I'm still not used to the acrid smell of her smoking, but maybe that's a good thing. Good work. Everything we needed, and no weird impulse buys. Did we need more window cleaner though? You said to grab necessities if they're on sale and don't spoil, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we don't want that spoiled window cleaner. You're learning. Could you help me down here once you put everything away? I need another set of hands. Without anything in particular planned for today, I agree before heading inside. The rickety stairs, they creak as I slowly head up with groceries in hand, fumbling with the door handle. My arms are thankful for the relief once I manage to drop the bags inside the apartment after opening the door. Opening the fridge, I get to work stuffing in the frozen and cold item first. Next, I open the cabinet doors and start ladling in the cans and boxes. As the empty shelves fill, I get an odd sense of satisfaction from caring for myself. Living as an adult is busy work, but it's rewarding in its own way. There's an odd and unexpected feeling of accomplishment from doing every simple task I'm sure it'll wear off in time, but I'm holding onto it for now. With the job done, I close the cabinets and get back up to look about the room. The apartment is barely any warmer inside than out. I suppose there are downsides as well as upsides. Putting it out of mind as best I can, I head back down to Rose. Slipping back outside and closing the door behind me, familiar clangs and bangs carry on the air as Rose still works away. Pass a rag, would you? I quickly take a seat near her on a path cleared of snow, grabbing one of the turnip pieces. Why do we need a turnip out here? Pieces of old shirts and handing it to her. She seems to be cleaning out some part of the engine or another. Anything interesting happening at school? Yeah, I saw a woman. She kicked a vending machine. That was a day. Not really. The schoolwork isn't too hard so far. A friend wants to start a club. A club, huh? That's cool. What kind of club? Like the ones you used to bash your enemies with? Huh, did you get it? An art club, apparently. I'm not really sold on it, though. I need to study, and she basically came up with the whole idea by herself. And then I got dragged into it. Rose passes the rag back and puts the part in place, motioning for me to hold it while she wrenches it back in. After a few grunts, the job appears to be done as she puts the wrench down with a clunk and turns back towards me. Life's not about studying. I know you were a teacher's pet back in high school, but you could stand to be a bit more social, you know? Why don't you take up smoking like me? So it's this again. This is another downside of living here, having to listen to Rose and her shite. With so much of my time spent alone with Rose, there's, for better or worse, no easy way to escape her questioning. I know she has my best interest in mind, though. I'm glad to have someone around to help me get to grips with adult life, even if I did find her intimidating at first. What was your college life like? Maybe here what with the college? Never had the chance to go. I was too busy smoking. I'm left a little surprised as she gets back to her bike. I've only known Rose for a couple of months now. Didn't you move in with a family friend? So how do you only know her from... Okay. So I'm still finding out new things about her all the time. Maybe you get why I'm on your case about this stuff now. Not everyone gets the chances you have, so make the most out of it. Go to some parties, start smoking, get some friends, smoke some more, and find a boyfriend sometime, teach him how to smoke. Even if it doesn't last, it'll be a start. Like start smoking. My family always pushed me to put... That's such a bad bit. Okay, well, to put such things aside and focus on my education. So that's what I did. Not because they told me to, because I wanted to. The simplicity of life back then suited me just fine, and it worked out well, going by my scholarship. I was never really interested in boys because I was so caught up in learning, is what I'd like to say, but I'm honest enough with myself to know that that's not the whole story. Seeing Eileen last week reminded me of that. Women like her keep catching my eye, and then there was a painting of hers. As time goes by, that difference in what I like looking at gets harder and harder to explain away.
Allison?
Rack, Allison. I hastily place a rack in her outstretched hand, Rose using it to try and rub some of the oil and grease off her hands. I'm sure she wouldn't mind if I'm not straight. If that's truly the case, while I'd like to talk with her about it, I can never quite seem to find the right time.
You right?
You're right there, little messy.
Huh?
Yeah, I was just thinking how life is complicated. Also, why did the voice acting go away?
Whatever you say.
That sure is. Hey, you bought that ice cream I asked for while you were out. Even though I checked your bags, I didn't see that particular ice cream. It's in the freezer now. Why? 'Cause I want it now. How about we have some? Could use a treat after working all all morning on this thing. And by that I mean my cigarette. God, it's been a long day. She has strange ideas about what makes a good dessert. I almost read desert. In the cold of winter. Yeah, that would have been odd. But I'm not going to stop her. As the two of us start packing up, another peaceful day rolls by. A loud yawn from Rose emanates from the couch. The drooning of the television briefly overshadowed. The only other sound is the coffee pot boiling away from the kitchen, punctuated by the occasional passing car. Only half awake and still acting on autopilot, I lazily wipe the sleep from my eyes as I stagger towards the door. The smell of Rose's toast and her cigarettes wafts invitingly through the air, making me envious of her later start to work. I let out a loud yawn before I can stifle it, causing Rose to look over from the couch. That's a neat tattoo you got there, Rose. Whoa, you look like hell. My God, you're ugly. Jesus, why do I even live with you? Here, have a cigarette. Well, thank you. Stay up too late playing on your phone or something there. Doesn't look like you got an hour of sleep. While Rose is less than tactful about this, it's true that I shouldn't be so tired. I'm usually a morning person, but right now I can barely remember where I even put my phone. But Rose picks herself up from the couch as she finishes her breakfast, brushing toast crumbs off herself as she starts towards the kitchen. I've got a little panda bear over here. Just the neighbors being loud again. I'm surprised you didn't hear them. Well, I stuffed some cigarettes in my ears. That helped. I may say that, but it's hardly any real shock. She sleeps like a log, while I've always been jealous about what? About the logs? Rose puts down the plate in her hand, giving the matter more thought than I'd intended. The ones above us, right? Man, I'm sick of them. I'll go have a talk to them later today and get them to knock it off. Making a racket during the days is one thing, but the nights is another. You don't have to do that. They might be quiet from now on anyway. She looks surprisingly disappointed at my attempts to wave off her concern. You have to stand up for yourself sometimes, Allison. Waiting for things to blow over ain't always going to work. I wind up rubbing my neck and I avoid outright answering. Yeah, let me spin around for you here. Apparently dropping the topic, she sighs and disappears into the kitchen after taking her plate again. I just don't want to cause a fuss, especially on my behalf. Is that really so bad? With time rolling by, I glance about and see my phone on the corner of the table. Slipping it into my coat pocket, I skip over and grab my bag sitting by the door. As I stretch a bit to try and wake myself up before facing the cold outside, Rose calls out from behind me. You forgot your cigarette. Turning to see her shows a fistful of crumpled dollar bills in her hand, thrust towards me. Here, go buy yourself an espresso and a pack of cigarettes and something else on the way. I don't know what.
Huh?
Just something. It's fine, you don't have to. Shut up, just take it. You look awful. God, get yourself a manicure or something. She really does have a way with words. I reluctantly take the cash, at least I pretend to, but I really wanted the cash. Slip it into my pocket, thanking Rose as I leave. As soon as I get out the door, the weather hits me. Looks like it's going to be a harsh winter this year, with the cold of the snow and the whatnot dumping down being made all the worse by the chilly fog hanging in the air. Twisting my head to and fro to bury it in my scarf a little better, I set off down the road with hands firmly lodged into my coat pockets. There doesn't seem to be many people around that are braving the weather, not that I blame them. As the muffled sound of snow on the tires rings out, that's loud. A garbage truck rumbles by. It's only after a worrying few seconds that I remember that I look like garbage. I did indeed put the garbage out for collecting yesterday. Reaching the campus, the welcome sight of a cafe nearby lifts my spirit. I've overheard students mention the coffee here is good, and it's conveniently right next to the campus. It looks homely enough from the outside and only has a handful of people inside at this hour as I peer through the windows. With a quick brush of the fallen snow off my shoulders and back, I take a breath and walk in. A bell above the door rings out as I enter. The smell of coffee on the air combining with the homely styling inside, making for an immediately cozy atmosphere. That's a good logo, by the way. Joining the couple of people in line, I quickly rehearse the order in my mind to make sure I get it right. The barista's nice smile towards the other patrons keeps making me trip over myself, and I've never been great in dealing with strangers. Coming to the front line, I manage to blurt out my order of a latte with sugar before I can mess it up. She smiles and takes my payment, leaving me to wait to the side as it's prepared. I briefly considered having it here, Wait, what? Oh, having the espresso here, given how relaxing the cafe is. She's gonna be late for class again. Oh gosh, diggity darn, that's the weird, what's her face? That's before... Oh, Caprice, right. I noticed Caprice loudly chatting with the tall man sitting across from her. I'm surprised I didn't notice them. I must really be out of it. As the cute barista slides the cup of coffee towards me, I decided I'd better leave the two in peace and drink outside. But fuck me, before I can, Caprice catches sight of me and begins excitedly waving her hands in the air. God dang it, I'm screwed.
Allie! Hey, Allie! Over here!
Oh!
Allie!
We're back to the voice acting now. So much for that. Coffee in hand, I wearily walk over to their table and look from one to the other.
Morning, Caprice.
Wallace. I can't go that deep. I can't voice act you. I'm gonna give you a girl's voice. Upon Caprice moving her backpack off a chair and placing it on the floor, I take a seat.
Allison here is a good friend and one of the founding members of the art club.
The new art club.
This is Caprice's rodeo, so I'm content to let her deal with the club as she wants to at this point. It takes me a moment to realize she referred to me as a good friend in particular. I've been friend-zoned. Oh, dang it. We've only known each other for the couple of months since the semester started, but I'm a little glad she thinks of me like that. Oh, that's sweet.
Hi, I am some guy Caprice found.
Hello there, some guy Caprice found.
He's our fourth member.
As she sighs forlornly, all I can offer is a stilted smile in response. Stilted? Caprice looked so comfortable dealing with him that I assumed they knew each other already. Come to think of it, Caprice had no problem dealing with Eileen either, despite barely knowing her. I'm impressed at how she can talk to strangers with just the same confidence as friends. Maybe she even considers him one already.
So what'd you get up to over the weekend, Allie?
Just housework and errands. It's surprising how much time I spend on that sort of thing now that I've moved out.
I get what you mean. Thankfully, I split the work with my roommates.
It's my roommate that makes me want to pick up the slack. Caprice looks to Wallace for his input, making him part of the conversation.
I look after the family gun shop on weekends. Nothing glamorous, but enough to get by on.
Caprice continues on chatting, mostly with him. Wallace quietly nods along, adding a yeah or I see, as needed. I get the distinct feeling he's been talked at more than being talked to. I slowly zoom in on him, and then I pass out. Now that we are both sitting across from each other, I can fully appreciate how much of a bear the man is. What? Cutting more of a foreboding figure thanks to his beard. Wait, huh? I can already feel myself shrinking in response. I turned into a badger. I have a thing with animals. For what to not stare at him, I turned to the coffee steaming away before him. Later did I notice that it was actually him that was steaming. God, he's hot. A flat black with the lid taken off to let it cool faster. I can taste how bitter it is just by looking at it. The conversation is suddenly interrupted by a phone going off. Apparently, Caprice flipped as her hand dives into the front pocket of her hoodie and retrieves it. Wallace and I feel awkward, just look to each other as she wanders off a few steps to take the call, unsure exactly what to do with ourselves. I stared at the coffee some more. Hi Wallace, do you smoke? It only takes a few seconds before she returns. And that was a quick call.
Sorry, guys. Gotta go. Roommates need me.
Wait.
I'll see you two around. We've got much more to discuss.
Can we discuss it now? Screw you, roommate. With that, she grabs her backpack and skips on out into the winter air without any other word. Going by her face, I'm more worried about it than she is. Left alone with Wallace, I sip my coffee for something to do. Glancing in his direction, he looks more relieved than anything.
She means well.
I know she does.
Even if Eileen doesn't think so, I just have to keep telling myself that.
And now I'm glad I didn't say that. Much as I would like to leap to her defense, she is pushing this awfully hard. If he's trying to start conversation, I feel I should at least try to reciprocate rather than letting him just twist in the wind.
So, you and Eileen know each other?
He gives a nod after taking a long sip of his coffee. That must be so awfully bitter.
We're friends. Met when she was a freshman in high school. Caprice saw us together and made the connection.
Oh.
She's filled me in on this club business. I'm going to guess you were pulled into it?
That would be a yes, Mr. Wallace.
Something like that. It kinda spiraled out of control. Sorry.
Wallace simply shrugs.
Not the first time clubs have been pushy about scouting members. I was actually thinking the whole thing might be good for Eileen. Single-mindedness is her best and worst trait, really. I don't want to say please put up with Eileen, but I'm having trouble working out a better way to word that. She isn't a bad person, just driven. I'm sure you know someone similar.
Yeah, she sure is driven to kick that vending machine, that's for sure. I do shudder what her reaction would be to being told she and Caprice are similar in any way. I'm still not sure about dealing with her, but it's hard to deny someone worried about their friend. Wallace seems content that he's managed to get his point across. Silence hanging in the air, along with the steam from his coffee and the secondhand smoke smell, as he thoughtfully sips his coffee. It reminds me that I should drink my own before it gets too cold as well. The weather outside is a harsh contrast to the nice atmosphere in here. That didn't work. Which might be why more students are starting to file in before classes start. God, I'm gonna be late again. The coffee's nice as well, so maybe I'll make this a regular spot, if I can afford to, that is, if Rose keeps handing me his crumpled up dollar bills. As for my companion here, I think I'm starting to see him in a better way. He's just concerned about his friend. Maybe he's the gentle giant type who isn't that threatening after all. With his cup empty as he sets it down, Wallace sits back to savor the last of its taste. God, must be bitter.
Well, I've said my piece. Caprice will probably give up on me, but you and Eileen are another matter.
I love his face here. Oh!
Caprice is a good friend. I can handle her. It was nice meeting you, Wallace.
I carefully repeat his name to try and engrave it in my memory. I have no doubt I'd instantly forget it otherwise. He's perhaps overly hopeful when it comes to Caprice, though.
Thanks. You seem nice, so hopefully Eileen will ease off a bit.
He levers himself off the chair with a grunt. Why is everyone grunting in this town? Taking a glance outside before grabbing his scarf and hat once more.
Good luck with class.
Thanks. You too.
And off he wandered. With that, he leaves the cafe while sliding past someone coming in, staggering through the terrible weather outside as he goes. With my next class so soon, I'd better finish this coffee off quickly, don't want to be late again. With that in mind, I concentrate on taking as big gulps as I can without looking unsightly. Unlike what Rose told me I look like. It's funny how one thing leads to another, though. It feels like a snowball's begun to start rolling, meeting new and interesting people since I started here. It might have taken a couple of months, but maybe I'll manage to find some new friends. I was late for class again, dang it. I'm at the library. I see it's filled to the brim. With the weather turning worse and worse as the week went on, the library seemed as good as a place as any to spend some time before having lunch. Unfortunately, it looks like I wasn't the only one who had that idea. Yep, it's completely filled. Look at all these people. While the library here is bigger than my previous schools, that doesn't matter much when a large portion of the students are dumped inside. Where? While my first choice would have been using one of the computers, that's obviously out of the question. Worried about looking like a dork as I loiter about, I start walking slowly through the library. Thankfully, nobody pays me much attention while I glance from side to side for an empty table or desk. The students who are actually studying seem to be outnumbered by those gossiping with friends or catching up on sleep. It's only in a far corner of the room that I catch a familiar face, albeit not necessarily a welcome one. Ah, there she is. Eileen sits hunched over a thick textbook, occasionally scribbling into a small notebook beside it as her finger stops every so often on one important part or another. It's hard to tell if she's annoyed or just studying hard. I consider leaving Eileen to her studying and braving the weather outside before she rubs her temple and looks down mournfully at her notebook. That pose is all too familiar for any student. I feel a little bad for her. Given the vending machine problems and how she wound up with Capri stuck to her, she doesn't seem to have very good luck. She might not be the friendliest person, but if I could help her a bit... With Wallace's words weighing on my mind, I grimace and accept my fate as I begin walking to the otherwise empty table. She looks up and catches my eye as I come near, so I guess I'm committed to this now.
Afternoon.
My existence has been noted. I don't think that could sound any more perfunctory, but at least she isn't shooing me away. Setting my bag beside my chair as I take a seat, I pull out my phone to check for any missed messages and switch it to silent before placing it on the table before me.
Hey.
Surprised you're not in the art room. I don't live there, you know. Wouldn't it be more... Again, why am I not voice acting? Wouldn't it be more private than here, though? She lets out a long, miserable groan. At least it's not a grunt this time. As her head sinks, hardly difficult to work out what that means. Well, that did sound like a grunt. Caprice wouldn't stop bucking me to join her drawing for some stupid theme. What was it? I wasn't really listening. Christmas scenes or something. She's barely even listening to me as she tries to wave me off. Caprice is probably scurrying around campus as we speak, hoping for me to join her as a drawing partner. What are you studying there, Miss Eileen? Math. It's been kicking, quote unquote, my ass, so I need to get my head around it for these stupid gen classes. What is a gen ed? Wait, huh? I'm so confused. Eileen barely lifts her head up from the notebook as she speaks, looking over the table at her work. Various practice equations covers the notebook's page. I have to admit I do admire Eileen's drive. I was just going to pass some time in the library reading, but seeing her working away has made me feel a little guilty. You surely are grunting. You any good at this stuff? Math? Well, I ended up skipping the Gen Ed class thanks to my placement exam result. Someone spent their time studying like a good little teacher's pet. Nothing like that. Math and science are easy enough, so I ended up coasting along. I need to learn how to study now that I'm here. Eileen's eyes narrow. Maybe she wasn't exaggerating about her skills. After having such an easy time in high school, it's easy to forget I'm the odd one out here. Of course, I'd put my foot in my mouth just as I was starting to break the ice with her.
Huh?
I mean, if you want, I could have a look at your face, your work. Can I look at you? She's hardly enthusiastic, but shrugs and moves herself a little out of the way. My curiosity's gotten the better of me. Coming around the table and looking at the notebook from behind her. I take a gander at the notes so far. I could barely see the notes. God, she has horrible handwriting. At least this is easy to read. What are you talking about? Put on your glasses, girl. Giving her immaculate handwriting. Can't fucking read the thing. The more I check over her notes, though, the more the corners of my mouth drag down. She's done a good job of showing her process, and the first couple of questions covering expressions look right at a glance. When it comes to polynomials, what the frig is that? However, the next two have odd leaps of logic, while the last wanders off into the wilderness. Jesus. I realize I should say something to express how she's done so far, but the window of time to say something even mildly positive to soften the blow has long since passed. Eileen, you're shite! So it's like that, huh? You got some of it right. Like you made a square, so that's something. That didn't help. Polynomials, whatever that is, do seem to trip a lot of people up, so she isn't catastrophically bad at this. Still, considering the first semester of Gen Ed subjects is mostly reviewing what we did in high school, this isn't a promising start. Mind if I scribble on this? Scribble? Why would you scribble?
Sure.
Yeah, knock yourself out. I don't care. I reach over to grab my pen from the other side of the table before hunching over her book and jotting down a couple of notes. First up are a few pointers to where the first two went awry, before taking a parallel crack at the worst of them. Pausing for a moment halfway to check the logic of what I'm doing, I'm satisfied I'm on the right track as I finish it off. The results looks about right. God, I'm good. Eileen flips over, quite literally, the textbook page on cue to check my answer, looking a little dubious as she does so. Vindicated by the matching result, I feel a good bit of relief at not making a fool of myself in front of her. Well, at least one of us has a head for this stuff. Does it make more sense to you now? She takes a thorough look at my scribbles on her notebooks, eyebrows frowned as she tries to pick up the reasoning. I can't help but glance between my notes and Eileen as she looks over them. If she didn't project an aura of wanting to be left alone all the time, just her looks and her style would probably attract people, myself included. I think so. You don't sound too sure there, Miss Eileen. This is about as confident as I ever get with math, so don't worry, I'll have to repay you some time. Taking that as confirmation that my job is done, I return to my seat as Eileen leans back in her chair. It's nothing really. You should ask your professor, though, if you're not confident doing polycarbonate. Needing to ask them doesn't mean that I want to. Given how frank she is, I thought she was Eileen. I guess this must be a matter of pride rather than shyness. Maybe that's where the stubbornness come from. Why are you wasting your time here with me anyway? Don't you have some friends to do friend things with? I only really know you and Caprice. Met Wallace the other day, actually. So that brat was trying to drag him into the club too. Wallace may think it might be a good experience for her, but Eileen's disdain for Caprice is going to be hard to overcome. Hearing my phone vibrating on the table, I quickly pick it up to see who's messaged me. I quickly force myself to keep a poker face as the name comes into view. She must have given up art out of loneliness if Eileen's avoiding her and I'm here. I'm not terribly hungry, but I should probably get at least a sandwich or something from the cafeteria before our classes begin. Yay, heart, something at the cafeteria. Quickly typing in agreement to meet her there, I lock the phone once more.
Hey.
I might go grab lunch. Want to come? Sorry, already ate. Thanks for the offer though. Now get lost. She's already back to concentrating on her textbook as she mumbles the reply. It's probably for the best anyway. Giving a quiet farewell, I grab my bag and put my phone back inside. As I pull it over my shoulder though, Eileen looks up and also looks cute. By the way, I don't blame you for any of this stuff Caprice is pushing. You seem alright. So I'm alright? Perhaps I should accept that as praise coming from her. Glad for our meeting having been somewhat successful, I wave goodbye and head out towards the cafeteria. The cafeteria is a little less full than the library, the stocks of food behind the counter already running low on all the usual student favorites. With the line for food moving quickly, I managed to grab the last set of sandwiches and move on. Scanning about, I noticed Caprice sipping her juice, an empty tray before her. She sure eats fast. Glad for the company either way, I walk over and take a seat at her table.
Hi!
Hey Ellie, long time no see, it's been like 30 minutes. We saw each other yesterday. No, we saw each other this morning at the cafe. How long was I in the library? How's everything going? How's your classes? Not too bad. It's all familiar enough right now. Not that everyone's doing as well as I am, especially Eileen. God, she sucks at math. As I unpacked my sandwich and began to nibble, my thoughts turned to the woman in the library. I feel a little sorry for her. Eileen's struggle reminding me that I have it easier than some at times. Then there's the matter of her and the club. Setting my food back down, I decide to tackle this more directly than usual. If Eileen can be so direct with others, so can I, gosh darn it. I was thinking you meant for me to meet Eileen last week, didn't you? She's fun, isn't she? Something like that. That painting of the girl in the water was really pretty. Yeah, she's really good, huh? No wonder the other art club tried to grab her. About that, well, more about Eileen, actually. I'm not sure it's a good idea to be forcing people into this club. I know you're excited to get things started, but just because her art's good doesn't mean she wants to be in a club. You sound like you're not really into it yourself. She's sharper than I give her credit for. Caught off guard, I have to stop and think as she sips at the last of her juice. The sucking sound as she makes sure to get every last drop doesn't help. I can't say I'm enthusiastic about this. Eileen's studying is exactly what I need to be doing. What? Lest I waste my scholarship. Why do you need to do Eileen's studying? On the other hand, Caprice is my only friend right now, and I do enjoy spending time with her. As she puts down her drink with a satisfied breath, I know my answer. I can make time for it, it's fine. She gives a comically big sigh, missing my hesitation entirely. If this ends up only being between a couple of us, maybe it won't be too bad. Long as it's not a whole bunch of people getting involved, who wants that? I want to do this for her sake as well, you know. Eileen looks kind of lonely all by herself in that room. Huh? I hadn't considered that Caprice was coming at it from that angle. It makes me think a little better of her. What she says makes me reconsider Eileen's action in another light as well. I wonder how much of her reluctance around this isn't due to Caprice herself, but rather her feeling used by the other club for her art. Seeing that kind of talent makes you kind of envious, though, right? Nah, I got her on the math part, so we're equal. Well, I just drew a bit in high school for fun. I don't think I could ever manage something beautiful like that. We keep chatting, but Caprice's earlier words stick firmly in my mind. We may meet every school day and talk quite a lot, at least she does, but I realize just how little I really know her in spite of that. Maybe spending more time together wouldn't be so bad after all. With time on my hands, thanks to the last class of the week finally being over, some quiet sketching would be a nice way to unwind. With that in mind, I make my way up to the art room. Studying would be the proper thing to do, but I'm just too burned out. Not that this stubborn cold helps either. That's not the art room. While most classes are winding down, their professors aware that the looming holidays are a big distraction. Others have tried ramping up the workload to try and cover everything in their semester plans. I might be keeping up, but plenty aren't. Whoa! What happened? Whoa. There we go. Sorry. With my bag tucked under my arm, I give a sigh as I stagger along the snowy path to the art building. Oh, it would be nice to feel like I'm doing more than threading water in class and socially. Stepping into the arts building with its strung up decorations remind me to look on the bright side. It's already the middle of November, so not long until Christmas, and being back with my family, I'll be thankful to be back with them, even if the rest of the holiday period is a wash. I managed to mangle around a chatting group of friends blocking the hallway and start up the stairs without bothering them. Another small success. Go me. I briefly wonder if Eileen's in the art room as I proceed along the second floor hallway. Her paintings are always nice to see, you have seen one of them. But whether she thinks of me as just another pain like she views Caprice weighs on my mind. That's very dark, however. Opening the door to the quiet room, I can't say I'm surprised at the sight before me. Of course she was going to be here. Eileen's eyes glances over as I gingerly shut the door behind me, ending up being the only acknowledgement of my presence at all before she goes right back to her work. Curiosity about what she's painting gets the better of me.
Hey.
Is it okay if I watch? If I just stare at you awkwardly while you try to focus on your painting here?
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead. She doesn't bother to look at me as she says it, but doesn't sound reluctant either, so I scoot over and sit myself on a table as quietly as I can. Eileen's brush continues to flick to and fro as she works on the background. So Caprice is a no-show. She said she had to go do something with her roommates. Her shoulders slumps as she sighs, relieved. Do you really hate her that much? Believe me, if I hated her, you'd know. I'd be kicking her like the vending machine. I'm just glad to have some quiet. It's hard not to take that as a thinly veiled implication that I should keep quiet as well. Wallace might not be wrong that Eileen means well, but that doesn't make her any easier to talk to. So, something on your mind? You're really good at this. It feels weird to say I've been talking about Eileen behind her back. What I said is true, though. I'm impressed she can carry on a conversation while working, and I like how her paintings turning out. Thanks. Been doing it for a while. As a hobby? If everything works out, hopefully as a career. Artist or teacher, aiming for the latter. That doesn't explain her persistence at working away to get better. Wanting to be a teacher, though, she gives the feeling of a drill sergeant more than an art tutor. Tubes out. Eileen gets up and places her supplies on the sill beside her, opening the cupboard and fiddling around for a bit. Before long, she emerges with a new tube of crimson paint in hand. Rather than get back to painting after closing the door, though, she instead turns to me. So, what about you?
Huh?
Sorry? What are you doing once you escape this place? I don't know, still trying to figure that one out. I feel like I failed a test as I trail off, but Eileen doesn't seem worried. You're still young and there's a good few courses to look into here. Just try your hand at whatever comes up until something grabs you. Maybe that something will be me if you catch my drift. There are plenty of worse ways to spend your time in college. You're smart too, so you have that going for you. I awkwardly smile at the praise. I've never been good at knowing how to handle compliments. She may say that, but the fact Eileen's so set on a career yet only seems to be around my age rubs in my lack of direction. I'm still patting myself on the back for managing groceries. My parents always told me I could do whatever I set my mind to, but it was so easy to tread water for me that I never bothered trying to swim. Sounds like you have a nice family there. I move to respond. The memory of them give me the familiar pang of homesickness all over again. I might have found time to call my mom yesterday, but it just isn't the same. You okay there? Yeah, it's just I missed them. Well, everyone here is going through the same thing. You as well? I miss my sister. Yeah, she's probably fine, but that doesn't make it easier. Mom and Dad too? To be honest, things have been easier between me and my folks since I moved out. Aww. It's hard to imagine being on such bad terms with my family that moving away was better. The best thing about Christmas will be the chance to see them again, but Eileen doesn't seem particularly fussed about it at all. Leaving me to ponder, Eileen goes back to her painting. I get the feeling she wouldn't be gracious to Caprice, so she seems to think a little better of me at least. She lent me an ear. But I wanted her whole body.
No, not at all. I like watching you paint.
She pauses a moment before continuing. It's only for a second, but I sense a hesitation there. Did I say something wrong? Or did I indeed say everything right? The moment passes, and apparently I pass away too. As soon as it arrived, Eileen's brush returning to the canvas. The other students appear to have left by now, the orange-stained room silent save for her work. The building's just a little cold, but that's fine, cause Eileen is warming up my heart. As the minutes roll by, I end up watching her for a while as I swing my legs. I almost forgot I came here to actually draw. But that doesn't matter. Watching her painting slowly progress is more than enough. Every so often, she mixes up a dab of this paint and that on the wooden palette beside her. The side of a hip is traced out, the light bouncing off a waist shaded, or a flowing strand of hair detailed with the fine tip. I can't help but admire her ability to set a goal and stay true to it, knowing exactly what she's working towards at this stage of her life. If only I had an ounce of the ambition Eileen has.
I might go to a cafe nearby to grab a coffee. I'll be back in a bit.
Tired?
Yeah. Sorry to distract you from your work.
Glad for the company. Have fun.
With that, I hop off the table and start towards the door.
Oh, wait.
Yes? Her voice stops me in my tracks just as I'm about to go. It'd be great if she decided to come as well.
Could you grab me a coffee too? Espresso, straight. I'll give you some cash when you come back.
Maybe her wanting a straight espresso was a subtle hint. My heart is left broken. So much for that. The cafeteria hums away as the many students present talks amongst themselves, the room having mostly filled up by now. Yes, the thought briefly passes my mind that winter must be great for business, given this being the closest place for cheap food during bad weather. Some smears on the edge of the plate are all that remains of the mostly cooked pasta served today. What's left of my accompanying soda bubbling away while I pass some time browsing this site and that. As I read, a shadow suddenly looms over the other side of the table. Looking up from my phone reveals a very familiar figure. Eileen peers down as she stands at the opposite side of the table, a large plate of food steaming away in her hand. The fresh pasta sauce is strong enough to smell from her. I have a strong sense of smell. Okay to sit here?
Hi.
Sure. I quickly set my phone down as she takes a seat and arranges her tray on the table, happily that she'd chose to sit with me. A glance around to see if anyone's with her makes me realize why she probably chose to sit here. The cafeteria is practically full, and this is simply the nearest table with space available. About to take her first gulp of food, Eileen's fork halts midair before saying something. And what that something is, we'll have to wait until the next time, because I feel like this is a good place to end this one. Okay, well, I guess everything is steamy and smoky around here. Will it be so in the next one? We'll just have to wait and see, because for now, thank you so much for watching, and until that next time, bye!